on, Mike.
Go
We
down
got
the
5
list
minutes
already.
left or
What's
so,
the
6
other-
minutes.
what's
Let's
the
talk
rest of the
about, we talked about the windows. We talked about now we come in, we sheetrock. Now we got the ceiling to deal with. Now there's a lot of ways to go about finishing off that
Good
ceiling.
choices, too, out there.
Right? What do we do with the ceiling? And again, budget.
Everybody thinks a basement has to be...
The drop ceiling.
Right.
Come on, Mike. Come on. Not us at American Design and Build.
No, that's like a medical office to me.
Well, listen, it's a clean, finished, quick surface that you can install. You don't have to do too much. There's no chase work, basically. You just go at the lowest point, you snap a line, if it's 7.6, 7.7, where you don't interfere, put the grid up, and snap together, drop the acoustical
There's some
ceiling.
very good choices out there, too, though.
No, they're nice looking. Sometimes the grid could even disappear. You don't see there's gridless systems, so you don't know that it's a suspended ceiling. Some more commercial applications have that you see in the stores. So that's always good. Then there's specialty ceilings. You have the specialty ceilings where you could go into raised panel wood, coffered wood, different types of wood
Are
beams.
all the tracks white?
No, like I said, some of them disappear. You don't see the tracks.
Really?
So you put these interlocking things, and the tracks are recessed, and the panel actually has a J that intersects and hides the track. Right.
Nice.
So you still.
I've never seen that.
There's square. There's still patterns to it, so you can still sort of understand that it is a drop
You must
ceiling.
get updated information on this stuff on a regular basis.
Well, some of the guys that you do commercial work for, besides these residential things, request that type of look. They don't want to see the grid either. People are tired of the grid, so to speak. So some people use it as an architectural element, the grid. Like the Pompidou Center, you accentuate the structure and make it stand out.
So we have choices on the ceiling.
We have some choices. Then the question becomes, based on those choices, what type of lighting can you do up there? Because certain lights only work with certain things. So depending on what type of ceiling you're putting together, your selection of lighting works with the ceiling material or the ceiling that you're going to put up there. If you're going to do a sheetrock ceiling, obviously, then you could run the gambit. If you're going to do a drop ceiling, you can do some recessed lighting or some fluorescent lighting, but you have a problem with height and the depth of the unit of each piece.
I can see the height of the unit being a problem.
Right. So
You
always
want to get as much ceiling height as you can.
always talk to your design team before you even start the process again as to what will my choices be of ceiling and what will the height be. Based on your choice, the height of the ceiling is going to vary. And you may be doing this beautiful room that's 20 by 20, but when you're done, you only have a 7-foot ceiling, which I've seen people ask me what they can do, and it's too late once it's there, except take it down and either remove some pipes or move some things so that you can get 6 inches or 7 inches more and put the ceiling back up again.
So much easier if you ask first.
Always ask first. And then it becomes an issue of what's acceptable. Some builders now in newer homes have left you the extra block course, which we talk about when we do additions for people and they want basements, to do an extra block course to make 8'8" underneath before you hit the joists, so that if there's pipe work in the way and so forth, that you can even drop in a dummy ceiling if you wanted to sheetrock at 8 feet and have plenty of space. You have 6 or 8 inches of chase up there to run duct work, piping, exactly. So with new construction, it's okay. If you have a pre-existing space, Mike, then you're going to have an issue probably with the finished ceiling.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. So the other alternative is obviously going through the expense of relocating some plumbing and so forth, push it to the perimeter. And that reminds me of Earl again, perimeter. And do that so that this way your center, you can have coffered on the edges a chase where it drops down to 6'6" all the way around by maybe 1 foot wide, and then push the center of the entire space up to 8 feet.
Make you a modified tray.
Right, so you do something a little nicer. And again, this is where the design professional can help you out and indicate.
So the end product looks like it's really
right,
been thought.
like it's been right. It's been there all the time.
Right.
You want to try and do that.
That covers ceilings. What else? What about flooring?
Now flooring, again, all kinds of crazy stuff with the flooring. And what do you do with the floor? Do you put a vapor barrier down first? Do you not? Do you put a wood subfloor down first or not? It all depends.
I figure all these floors are not perfectly even.
Well, first of all, the floors aren't even. A lot of people.
Is there enough concrete down there to put a floor on that?
You can put a wood floor down. You can plywood and then a wood floor. You can just put the wood right down on the rosin paper, as it were. You can put a vapor barrier down. Most people just carpet and you put a pad down and carpet over the concrete. We always suggest to put a vapor barrier down first before all of that. Some do, some don't. The next step is if you're going to do something and you want you don't want the transmission, let's say, or the heat loss through the slab as much, they lay down plywood, which the wood then acts as an insulator.
That makes sense.
You put your vapor barrier down, you put down a half-inch of plywood. If your floor is really out of level, this is your opportunity to level things up, shim it up, and then put your finished flooring over the top of that, which is always, an excellent thing. So, so that's the choices there. You can do some tile, you can do some stonework.
Is it worth putting radiant heat down there?
Radiant heat is a different story. We're going to save that for another show because I think we got a minute left, Mike.
Okay.
But yeah, it does sometimes pay, depending on the application and the height that you have.
Okay, I understand.
Okay? So
Everything you want takes up space.
everything takes up space, and inches or dollars down there, for the basement. So
I want people to remember basements are a really add-on living space you're paying for right now and not using.
that's right. So give us a call. We're going to sign off today. It was a pleasure speaking with you folks out there. As usual, me and Mike here. We'll have Bill next week, I'm sure.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Tune in next week to the ABCs of Home.